This is Reality Dispatch by Jim Mins.
Kenneth was 2 hours into his journey out of Kansas driving east on the I-70. He was passing through Wilson when he took the occasional glance out the driver's side window into the open plains. 250 years earlier than today, Kenneth knew that this land had Cheyenne communities living and thriving on the fields beneath the highway. Land speculators would scurry and trespass with muskets and kill anyone who would place a barrier between them and prosperity. The tribe folks' liberty and freedom removed from the place they were born and bred. Kenneth's empathy with the plight of the natives bred in him a wish, or more accurately a profound desire, that his own blood held tribal significance. He longed to submit himself as guinea pig to a DNA testing site that was all the rage these days. He romanticized the idea that his ancestors were the first to press on these lands he now called home. As a libertarian, he was certain that his beliefs were bred out of a connection to country and to land. He never did out of fear that the results would not indicate a connection with the oppressed, but rather the oppressor. Better to dwell in hopeful ignorance. It was an 18-hour drive to Washington, D.C. He hadn't been in many years and would not think to go on any other occasion if not for the convention. His desire to be amongst like-minded liberators whose mission in life is to highlight the over-compassing government intervention that was experienced in every facet of existence. His job was to showcase bureaucratic overreach hard at work in his native Kansas. He had examples typed out on a manifest he kept in the back of his truck, just under his Glock G43 in the newly bought metal and suede hardshell case that housed it. He assumed all in attendance would be armed, not as a precaution but as a statement. He'd barely slept the 5 hours granted to him since arrival at his motel on the outskirts of D.C. He should have left home earlier and driven in 2 days rather than a straight run. His lack of shut-eye put him in a bad mood. Registration was a grueling process, and this was despite his status as a party elder. When he received his credentials, Kenneth was ushered over to the Kansas table. The convention had begun in jest with a series of business announcements, recommittal of core principles, and some crowd-pleasing guest speakers. It was Saturday when the former president was scheduled to speak. The attendees of the ballroom all prepared themselves for the intrusion of government to have their weapons removed. This invasion of liberty was the first red flag that allowed Kenneth to drop his lingering support for the man seeking office. The second red flag appeared when he had returned from afternoon business. In his seat, in fact on the entire Kansas Bureau Regional Libertarian Front positioned directly in front of the podium, were none of the party that had been based there for the duration of the conference. It was a sea of unknown gentlemen, all in red caps, all sitting with their arms folded. It was an invasion. They had trespassed, declared war on the Libertarian movement. Their presence was as a rent-a-crowd for the former president to assist in the audible support. It was the last straw. Kenneth presented himself to the table with his arms outstretched. As per the policy of the visiting guest, he was unarmed, except for the vial that he was to unleash with his vocal cords. He made sure that not even the most gregarious of good-natured individuals in MAGA hats were immune from his vitriol. Kenneth made sure every insult was delivered with particular venom. As he was escorted from the ballroom, Kenneth was given a round of applause from his fellow delegates. Attendees that recognized the removal of his person was the removal of his freedom to exercise his disgust. This was a plight on his liberty and a betrayal of his membership. Then Trump took the stage to a sea of boos.
For more fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.